I want you to imagine, just for a second, sitting down at your desk tomorrow morning.
Okay.
You open your laptop,
Yeah.
and you are immediately staring down four incredibly complex tasks that all need your attention right now.
The kind of tasks that just drain you immediately.
Exactly.
Mm,
You need to meticulously plan out your entire day by, cross-referencing your messy calendar.
right.
Then you need to run a detailed status check on all 12 of your ongoing projects to see who's falling behind.
Oof. Yeah.
You need to design a complex visual flowchart for an upcoming presentation.
Yeah.
And, just to add to the chaos, you have to scrape hundreds of recent comments from a YouTube channel and analyze them for actionable feedback.
That is a lot for one
It's
moron.
massive.
Yeah.
If you were doing that manually, bouncing between tabs and logging into different platforms, how long would that take you?
Honestly, half the day.
Easily. We are talking about hours of clicking, reading, and typing. Now imagine hitting a single keystroke and getting all four of those tasks completely finished, perfectly executed, formatted exactly the way you like them, and all done in roughly 30 seconds.
It sounds completely impossible, I know. I mean, if someone pitched you that a year ago, you would assume it was science fiction or just a scam.
Totally.
But that 30-second timeline is real. It is happening right now on normal consumer laptops. And it is completely fundamentally changing our understanding of what it means to be productive as an individual worker.
Welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission today is to completely unpack this brand new world of what are called agent skills using Claude.
Yeah, it's a fascinating topic.
We're pulling insights from two really comprehensive video sources today, one from tech creator Nate Herc and the other from Kevin Stratford's channel, specifically hosted by David DeWinter.
Great sources, really detailed breakdowns.
They are. And we're going to look at how these tools operate, the mechanics making them so fast, and how you can build an army of personalized AI agents to handle the busy work that normally just drains your energy.
Yeah, and to really grasp what is happening here, we have to recognize a massive shift in how we actually interact with artificial intelligence.
Right.
For the last couple of years, we've been treating AI like a really smart encyclopedia or just a simple chatbot. You ask a question, you get an answer.
You ask it to write an email, it writes an email.
Exactly. But we are officially entering the era of AI automation. The core concept here, the word you really need to keep in mind throughout this entire discussion, is leverage.
Leverage. Got it.
What these skills actually are, fundamentally, are standard operating procedures, SOPs for an AI assistant. You aren't just asking a question anymore. You are permanently teaching the AI how to do a specific part of your job, step by step, in the exact style you prefer.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's dive into what these skills actually are and how they prevent you from feeling utterly overwhelmed by information overload.
Yeah, because decision fatigue is huge.
It is a very real thing. The context switching we do every day, jumping from Slack to email to a spreadsheet and back to Slack, it's mentally exhausting.
Right.
By the time 2 p.m. rolls around, most of us are just running on empty.
That is the exact problem these skills are designed to solve. Every time you switch environments, say from checking your calendar to analyzing your project management software, your brain has to completely shift gears.
You have to load a new set of rules in your head.
Exactly. You reload a new set of rules. That context switching destroys deep focus. But if you can delegate the routine context switching to an agent, you preserve your own mental energy for the creative work that actually matters.
I see the theory, sure, but how does this actually look in practice? Because if I'm handing over my project management to an AI, I really need to know it's not going to completely mess up my workflow.
That makes total sense. So let's look at a fantastic real-world example from Nate Herc's setup. He created what he calls a morning coffee skill.
A morning coffee skill. I like the name.
Right. While he is literally sitting in his kitchen having his first cup of coffee, his AI agent runs this automated skill in the background. It securely looks at his calendar, analyzes his pending tasks, and instantly proposes a perfectly prioritized plan for his day.
So no decision fatigue. He doesn't have to stare at a blank screen and decide what to do first.
None at all. And at the exact same time, a completely separate agent runs a pulse check skill. It digs into his ClickUp project management software, reviews where every single project stands, and highlights the specific tasks that are slipping through the cracks.
Wow.
Yeah, it flags the things he completely missed because he was busy putting out other fires.
So it's acting less like a software tool and more like an actual human assistant who gets into the office before you do.
Exactly.
But I guess my question is, why do I need a specific skill for this? Couldn't I just type a really long prompt into Claude every morning, asking it to check my calendar and tasks?
You could, but think about how tedious that is. Every single time you want it to do something complex, you have to write a massive, detailed prompt from scratch.
Yeah, that would get old fast.
You'd have to remind it of your preferences, remind it how you like your lists formatted, tell it what projects are high priority. A skill replaces all of that friction.
It's like saving a preset.
Yes, it gives the AI a repeatable, documented process that lives right on your machine because it follows the exact same standardized instructions every single time you trigger it. The results you get back are incredibly consistent. You do the heavy lifting of writing the instructions once, and you get the payoff forever.
That consistency point is huge, especially when it comes to the limitations of AI. Like, take the example of generating visual diagrams from the sources.
Oh, that's a great example.
We all know that AI image generators are notoriously terrible at spelling.
The worst.
Right. If you ask a standard AI image bot to draw a picture of a business flowchart, the boxes look great, but the text inside them usually comes out looking like an alien language.
Yeah, it'll spell flowchart with 3 W's and a number.
Exactly. But one of the creators built a specific skill for a diagram tool called Excalidraw. Instead of asking the AI to draw a picture of a diagram, the skill instructs the AI to write the actual underlying code to generate an Excalidraw file.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that Excalidraw example reveals why you absolutely need to care about this shift.
Right, because it's usable.
Precisely. The AI isn't generating a flat, uneditable JPEG with misspelled words. Because the skill told it to write code, it outputs a perfectly spelled, perfectly structured diagram that you can actually click into and edit yourself. It bridges the gap between a neat AI party trick and an actual professional deliverable.
So for the listener trying to figure out where this fits into their life, what are the primary buckets of value here?
There are 3 main reasons to start paying attention to this. Number 1 is personal productivity. You are legitimately building a true personal assistant that works at lightning speed and scales with your ambition.
Which is incredible on its own.
It is. Number 2 is team leverage. If you run a business or manage a department, you can take your company's existing, boring SOPs, the ones nobody actually reads.
The one's collecting digital dust.
Exactly, and you turn them into AI automations that everyone in your organization can trigger. Suddenly, your newest hire can execute a complex workflow just as well as your senior staff because the AI is guiding the process.
That levels the playing field so much.
And number 3 is potential monetization. We are entering a phase where people are sharing and selling highly specialized AI skills. Now, a word of caution on that front.
Let me guess, don't quit your day job yet.
Right. Do not bank on selling skills as a foolproof long-term business model just yet. The technology is moving way too fast. But it is absolutely an ecosystem to watch as marketplaces begin to pop up.
Let's bring this down to earth for a second. If I am listening to this and I want to start using skills today, do I need to be a software developer? Do I have to learn how to code to build these?
Not at all. The great news is that Claude comes with some incredibly powerful built-in skills right out of the box, designed specifically for non-technical users. You don't have to build anything from scratch to see the magic.
I was really impressed by the PowerPoint example David DeWinter showed. Let's say you have a really rough bullet point outline for a presentation you have to give tomorrow.
A very common scenario.
Normally, you'd spend 2 hours copying and pasting those bullets into slides, messing with text boxes, aligning things. Instead, you just hand that rough outline to Claude, and it uses its built-in PowerPoint skill to actually generate the entire slide deck for you.
And it does it in seconds.
But it takes it a step further. You can then trigger another built-in skill called the Theme Factory.
I love that one.
Right. This automatically sweeps through that newly created presentation and perfectly applies your company's specific brand colors, your corporate fonts, and your logo placements.
Those built-in tools are a fantastic starting point to get your feet wet. But the true magic, the real leverage that fundamentally changes how you work, comes from custom skills.
Building something yourself.
Building something specifically tailored to your unique, weird daily routine. Let's look at the AI FOMO summarizer example from the source material.
Oh, this one is so relatable.
We are living in a time where new AI tools, new platforms, and new updates are being announced on social media literally every single day.
It is utterly exhausting to keep up with.
So to handle that anxiety, a creator built a custom skill. When a new tool is announced, let's say something like OpenAI Atlas, the skill evaluates that specific tool based on the creator's personal work context.
The mechanics of how that FOMO skill is triggered are so clever. You don't have to open a chat window and write a paragraph explaining what you want. You just use a specific phrasing that you defined.
It's just a shortcut.
Yeah, you type something like AI FOMO dash the name of the tool dash the link to the website. That tiny phrase is the trigger.
And it knows exactly what to do.
The AI agent immediately kicks into gear, navigates to the link, reads the press release, and outputs a highly specific, standardized report. It gives you a literal FOMO score out of 10.
That is brilliant.
It breaks down the tool's exact relevance to your specific daily work, its impact on your personal productivity, and ends with a bottom-line recommendation on whether it's actually worth exploring or if you can safely ignore it and go back to work.
What's fascinating here is the underlying architecture making all of this possible. Let's look under the hood for a moment so you understand how a skill actually functions without getting bogged down in overly complex jargon.
Please keep it simple for us.
At its core, a skill is not a complex piece of software. It is just a folder on your computer.
Just a folder.
Yep. It lives in a very simple hidden folder called .claude/skills. And the brain of the skill is just a basic text document, specifically a markdown file, which ends in .md. That single text document holds all of your plain English instructions.
Hold on, let me stop you there. Because if I build 50 of these highly detailed skills with all these instructions and rules and brand guidelines, won't Claude have to read all of them every single time I ask it a simple question?
That's a very logical concern.
Right, because every time you prompt an AI, platforms charge you tokens for the amount of text they have to process.
Yeah.
If it's reading my entire library, 50 skills, every time I say hello, wouldn't that burn through my daily token limit in about 5 minutes?
That is a critical question, and it's where a lot of people get confused. The solution is a brilliant system called progressive context loading.
Progressive context loading.
The AI does not read your entire library of instructions at once. It reads in layers. Think of it like walking into a massive library.
Okay, I'm with you.
Level 1 is the initial search. When you give Claude a prompt, it only scans what is called the YAML front matter of your skills.
The YAML front matter.
Think of YAML like the spine of a book on a library shelf. The AI is just walking down the aisle, reading the spines. It only looks at the title of the skill and a one-sentence description. That takes maybe 100 tokens. It is incredibly cheap and happens in milliseconds.
That's just browsing.
Exactly. If it reads the spine and realizes, this is the book I need to answer this prompt, it moves to level 2. That is when it pulls the book off the shelf and reads the actual step-by-step instructions in the markdown file, which might cost 1,000 to 2,000 tokens.
That makes sense.
And finally, level 3. It only pulls in extra reference files like a massive spreadsheet or a 50-page brand guideline document if your specific task in that exact moment actually requires them. It is highly optimized so you aren't wasting tokens.
That library spine analogy makes total sense. And that efficiency is where you can get really clever with how you build these. There's a massive takeaway here about how to save time and tokens. David DeWinter highlighted this when talking about that ClickUp pulse check skill we discussed earlier.
Yes, the AI was initially wasting an enormous amount of time and computing power. When he first built the skill, every single morning the AI was doing a live manual search through his entire ClickUp database to find the specific list IDs for the projects it needed to check.
Just blindly searching.
Right. It was acting like a detective, making live API calls, searching, parsing the results, extracting the IDs, and then finally checking the status. It was slow, and because it was processing so much data, it cost a ton of tokens.
So to fix it, he just hard-coded those specific ClickUp list IDs directly into the skill's simple text document.
A brilliant fix.
Instead of the AI acting like a detective searching for clues every single morning, the skill just hands the AI the exact web address of what it needs to look at from the very start.
Right.
The realization here is that having the AI read a plain text markdown file that you saved on your computer is infinitely faster and vastly cheaper than having it make live web searches or API calls.
It turned a slow, expensive process into something that ran instantly.
It's amazing.
It's a perfect example of optimizing your workflow. And the best part is, as we mentioned, you do not need to be a software engineer to build these incredibly optimized skills. The process is actually very straightforward. There is a clear, approachable 6-step framework for building your own AI assistant.
I love this framework. Let's say I'm sitting down right now, ready to build my first custom skill. Walk me through the process. Where do I even start?
Step 1 is the name and trigger. You have to decide what the skill is called and what specific words you will type to activate it. You want something unique so the AI doesn't trigger it accidentally.
Okay, so unique name. What's next?
Step 2 is the goal. In one single clear sentence, what is the exact output you want? Are you asking for an email draft, a summarized report, or a piece of code?
Got it. And then for step 3, you outline the step-by-step process. This is where you just write down what you would normally do manually.
Precisely.
If you were training a human intern to do this boring task, exactly what buttons would you tell them to click in what order? You just write that down in plain English.
Which leads right to step 4, reference files. What external context does the AI need to succeed? Does it need a folder of your company logos? Does it need a style guide PDF? You link those here.
Okay, that makes sense.
Then step 5 is rules and guardrails. This is crucial. You have to anticipate what usually goes wrong. If the AI tends to use overly formal language, you add a rule that says never use corporate jargon.
It leaves step 6, which honestly seems like the most important phase of the whole thing, the improvement loop.
Step 6 is where the reality of working with AI sets in. You need to hear this.
Huh?
You are never, ever, ever going to write a perfect skill on the first try.
It just doesn't happen.
It simply does not happen. Building a skill is an iterative process. You have to run the skill, watch the AI attempt the work, and then give it feedback to close the loop and make the skill smarter.
There is a live build example that shows this so perfectly. The creator decides to build an infographic skill on the fly. He tells Claude his goal. When I ask for an infographic, use this specific external tool called skill.md, also known as Nano Banana, to generate the background image.
A great tool.
Then, look at this specific folder on my computer that contains my company's brand guidelines and my official logo, and apply them to the image.
And on the very first try, the AI does exactly what it was told, technically. It generated the image and it applied the logo. But the result was visually terrible. It just awkwardly slapped a giant logo with a solid white background right on top of a beautiful image. It looked like a cheap sticker. But this is where the improvement loop kicks in. You don't scrap the skill, you refine it.
The human just gave the AI simple, plain English feedback. He essentially said, hey, next time, make sure the logo background is transparent so it blends in properly, and always use a 1:1 square aspect ratio so it fits the frame.
And the AI listens.
The AI immediately took that feedback and updated its own skill instructions. After 5 or 6 runs of this conversational feedback cycle, that skill becomes absolutely bulletproof. Every future infographic you ever ask for will be perfectly branded and perfectly sized with 0 extra effort.
And part of mastering that improvement loop is knowing how to debug when things go slightly wrong. It doesn't have to be a frustrating experience.
Right.
If the AI is giving you the wrong tone of voice, you don't need to rewrite the whole skill. You just add a reference file with 3 examples of your previous writing. If it keeps making the exact same formatting mistake over and over, you explicitly add a new rule in step 5 saying always format as a bulleted list.
What if the skill just isn't triggering at all? Like you type the prompt and Claude just acts like a normal chatbot?
The fix for that is usually in that YAML front matter, the spine of the book we talked about earlier. You just need to make the description or the trigger words more specific so Claude knows exactly when to reach for that book.
Makes sense.
On the flip side, what if the skill is triggering too often? Say it runs an intense data analysis when you just meant to ask a simple question. The fix there is to disable model invocation.
Model invocation.
That is just a technical way of saying you lock the skill so it only runs when you type a direct /command, like /infographic, ensuring it never triggers by accident during a casual chat.
Those granular controls give you so much power over how the AI behaves. But I know this goes even deeper than just analyzing text or generating images. You can actually connect Claude to the other software platforms you use for work, right?
Yes. As you get comfortable with the basics, you can expand your horizon by using what are called MCP servers.
MCP servers.
This stands for Model Context Protocol. You can think of an MCP as a secure bridge that allows Claude to step outside of its own chat window and securely interact with your external applications and databases.
This is where it transitions from a cool text generator to an absolute powerhouse.
Right.
You can hook Claude directly up to your work Gmail account via an MCP bridge.
Yes.
Then you build a skill that says, every morning, read all my unread emails from yesterday, summarize the ones that actually demand my attention, ignore the newsletters, and go ahead and draft sample replies in my tone of voice.
Huge time saver.
Or, even more impressive, connecting Claude to QuickBooks Online. You can build a custom skill that dives securely into your accounting software, pulls the raw profit and loss data, reads the line items, and gives you a plain English summary of your monthly finances, without you ever having to open a single spreadsheet.
It is entirely about removing the friction from the tools you already use every day. And as you build these powerful integrations, you have to decide where these skills should live on your computer.
Right, organization matters.
You have two options: local and global skills. A local skill lives inside one specific project folder on your computer. It only works when you are actively working in that specific folder. It's great for highly specialized tasks tied to one client.
But you can also install a skill globally in your computer's home directory. And this is the real game changer for personal leverage.
Oh, absolutely.
If you have a skill for front-end web design code structure, or a skill that perfectly captures your company tone of voice, you want that globally installed. That way, those specific highly tuned abilities follow you to every single project, every single folder, and every single chat window you ever open.
They are just always there waiting for you.
So what does this all mean for you? How do you actually put this into practice? The biggest takeaway here is a simple change in mindset. If you ever find yourself tomorrow typing the exact same prompt for the third time, or if you catch yourself doing a manual click-heavy process that you know you just did last week.
Stop what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That feeling of repetition is your brain's cue to stop and build a skill. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece of software engineering. It could literally just be a 50-line text file. But that tiny text file could save you hours of manual labor every single week for the rest of your career.
It's about recognizing the patterns in your own work. You are taking your unique workflows, your specific creative style, your hard-earned knowledge, and you are packing them into these incredibly lightweight, reusable text files. You are literally cloning your best practices so you don't have to execute them manually anymore.
To wrap up our deep dive today, agent skills are fundamentally shifting how we approach work. It's no longer just chatting with an AI and hoping for a good answer.
Yeah.
It's giving yourself an army of highly personalized, highly efficient AI agents that operate based on your exact rules.
Exactly.
Yes, remembering that six-step framework is key. And yes, building a perfect skill takes a few rounds of iteration and feedback. But the leverage you gain getting 4 complex tasks done perfectly in 30 seconds is absolutely monumental.
And I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over as something that really builds on everything we've discussed today.
Go for it.
We've talked extensively about how you can identify your own repetitive tasks and manually train an AI to automate them via these skills. But as these AI agents gain more and more context about your daily habits, your email patterns, and your business data through those MCP bridges, how long is it until the AI starts identifying the inefficiencies in your workflow that you haven't even noticed yet? How long until the AI proactively writes its own skills just to optimize you?
That is a wild thought to end on. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. We hope this gave you a massive shortcut to understanding the incredible leverage of agent skills. Stay curious, keep looking for those repetitive tasks you can automate, and as always, keep diving deep. See you next time.